That's great.
I'm just waiting for my internet to, like, let me open the door.
Okay. Yeah, it does seem like it's freezing just a tiny bit.
Should work now.
Okay. Wow, brava! That's amazing. There are so many great things about that. Beautiful. What year of study are you?
I'm 16.
Okay, that's amazingly fantastic. So since today's masterclass is ostensibly about the text, I wonder, could you speak the text of the B section? For me,
L'amo.
just speak it. Okay.
Okay. L'amo. Malie infidel. Spero. Malie crudel. Mi lascerei morir. Mi lascerai morir. Oh Dio, mancai il valor e la costanza.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Can you do it phrase by phrase? Give me the first phrase, and can you speak it with a singing space? And maybe we can even put it in the chat so people know.
Okay.
Namo.
L'amo. Malie infidel.
Okay.
Spero.
Just that
Malie.
namo. And then what's the second word?
Ma elie infidel. Should we type it up?
L'amo.
Yeah.
Ma egli è infidel. Infidel, infidel.
Infidel.
Infidel. Okay, so do you know? I mean, this is getting into like really detailed stuff because your legato line is beautiful. I'm in love with your ah vowel, and I want to carbon copy it and show it to many, many other singers because it's beautifully closed in the front and beautifully open in the back. And it means that it's so efficient and you can crescendo through. So musical things I think are thrilling, and your emotional investment is great. I just think maybe we can refine some diction things in this B section. So when you have a stressed vowel in Italian followed by only one consonant, the vowel needs to be really long and the consonant needs to be really fast. So here in this little snippet, you have two of those stressed vowels followed by one consonant. Do you know where they are?
Mali. I'm confused about Italian because I always studied it's the middle or the one before the last that's
It's
always stressed.
sometimes, yes. So there's three different stress patterns in Italian. Most commonly, it's the second to last syllable, but in some three syllable words, it's on the first one, like sdrucciolo. You can have that pattern in Italian. You can have what's called the piano pattern, where you have stress, unstress, and then you can have a truncated pattern like on infedel, where actually, because that last vowel is cut off, it's the final note that's stressed. So it would be great if you have access to IPA source or some sort of like international phonetic alphabet transcription of this to mark your stressed syllables. But in this case, your stresses are l'amo, first syllable, and then ma, egli, first syllable, e infedel on the last one. So where do you have stress followed by one consonant?
Stress followed by one consonant?
Mm-hmm.
Lamo.
Right? L'amo. And where else?
Del.
Infedel, exactly. So, can you give those vowels not only a louder sound, but a longer sound relative to the consonant? So, l'amo.
Lamo.
There you go. Perfect. Ma egli è infidel.
Malie infidel.
Infedel. Exactly. Yes. Feel the difference between that and l'amo, where they're kind of even, but the ah is accented? That was really good. Nice correction. Now let's talk about lia. Okay, so to make that sound an egli, egli, have you talked about how to do it in detail?
El.
Yeah,
Please.
pretty good. So you keep the tip of your tongue down, and if these are your bottom
Uh-huh.
teeth, take the middle of your tongue and bring it up to the front and back down. Lia, lia,
Yeah.
lia.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lia, lia. Yeah. And while the tongue is up forward, let the sound and the air come out on the sides of the tongue in your mouth, not up in your nose. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're making an L, but instead of the tip of the tongue coming up to block the sound, the middle comes up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Does that feel a little different?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can we sing like just to refine that sound a little bit? And can you make it that way with the tip of the tongue staying nicely floated forward and the middle coming up? Um, yeah, there you go. Let's do two notes per vowel. So sing the word egli. Yes, better tongue motion. Now can you open your jaw a little bit more so that just the tongue is making that yeah, yeah, yeah? It's tricky. Does that feel a little easier?
Yes.
A little more refined? Good. Can you do it a couple more times? Yeah. And can you sing Ellie? Because the word is Ellie, right? Ellie, Ellie, Ellie. Right. So there's an E vowel, and then there's the open air. Ellie, because that way you don't also get lip movement. We're just isolating the yeah, yeah, yeah. Very nice. One more. Very good. One more, just to reinforce it. Beautiful. That's absolutely the right sound. Now, can you do it one more time? And can you do that as easily and with the softest tongue possible? So try to let there still be vibrato even when you're going, yeah. I'm sorry.
Ellie.
Ellie, Ellie, Ellie. Uh-huh. Li, li, li. Perfect. Perfect. Now, can you speak just that first line? L'amo, ma egli è infedele.
L'uomo, ma egli è infedele.
That is so much cleaner in the Italian. Great. Go on to the next line.
Spero,
Uh-huh.
ma egli è crudele.
Okay. Great. So where are your stressed vowels followed by one consonant?
Spedel.
Uh-huh. And crudel, right? Same structure as the other, which is common in arias. These are usually poetic texts, and they have very similar structure from line to line. Okay, so you're going to say spero.
Spero.
Right, and can you just flip it instead of roll it? Not spero, because that would have two R's. Spero.
Spero.
There you go. Ma egli, that new lia you just practiced.
Ma egli.
Uh-huh. E crudel.
Ma egli è crudele.
Right, and the last vowel of egli, it's a plain old E. It sounds like elu, but it should be egli.
It's written with the accent that goes this way.
The e?
Like, yeah, it's like, how do I use chat? L-E.
It'd be good if I had a score to look at for the detailed text. I could probably find it. Since we have time, I can just go.
Should I put a link in the chat?
Sure, yeah, there we go.
I think it should have a preview. L-E. L-E. L-E.
Elie.
Yeah, like accented E is there.
Uh-huh. Oh, there's no ye. I gotcha. Okay, so there's an apostrophe. Elie. Okay, that's great. So then go to the open e.
Elie.
Elie. Elie. Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Crudel.
Uh-huh. Crudel. Nice. Okay, so can you do that line one more time?
Perro.
No,
No.
no, spero. So this is a rule of thumb. You can write this down in your notebook. When you have one R between two vowels, it's a flip. Only a flip. Spero would be S-P-E-R-R-O in Italian. So spero.
Perro.
Uh-huh.
Perro. Perro. Ro. Ro. Ro.
Spero. Spero. Spero.
Perro.
There you go. Nice. More vowel than R.
Perro.
There you go. Nice.
Perro.
Yeah.
Malie crudel.
Nice. And can you make that at crudel? There you can roll the R as much as you want.
Crudel.
Ah, nice. Now can you do the whole line? This is super detailed, but I think it's gonna make your already like stunningly good performance even more sophisticated. So the whole line from spero,
Perro.
more gentle R. You practice.
Perro.
Spero.
Perro. Perro.
More
Perro.
A, longer A. Spero.
Perro.
There you go.
Malie crudel.
Nice. Now, what are we going to do with the R in the middle of morir?
Rier. Rier.
Just flip it, right? Not morir, but morir.
Morir.
There you go. That was perfect. Okay. And then what happens after that?
Mi lascerai.
Just a flip. Mi lascerai.
Mi lascerai.
There you
Mi
go.
lascerai morir.
Nice. And then?
Oddio, manca il valor. Manca il valor. E la costanza.
Right. So oddio, that is a syntactic doubling in Italian. That's beautiful. You should double that D. Then manca. So the NC sound, it's like diction class today in here. So the NC sound, you need to make it kind of like an NG. Manca. Nka. Instead of na. Manca. Manca. Oh no, did it freeze? Did it freeze? I think it's back. Okay.
Hello. Am I back? No.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. So manca. Nka.
Manca.
There you go. Perfect. Feel how that's different from manca, where the tip moves. You want to just move the back like an NG. Manca. Perfect. Really good. And then il valor. Make sure you have a true E on il and it's not il. Il valor.
Il valor.
Nice. Valor e la costanza.
E la costanza.
Right. And there's no, at least if we're looking at the same text, it's not constanza, right? It's costanza.
Yeah. Costanza.
Costanza. Okay, perfect.
Costanza.
There you go. Really nice. Okay, great. Can you now speak the whole B section from l'amo? You can do it.
L'uomo. Malie infidel.
Nice.
Malie crudel. Morir mi lascerai morir. Oddio, manca il valor. Manca il valor e la costanza.
Much better. In the word lascerai, the stressed vowel is the a right before the end. It's not lascerai, it's lascerai.
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 There you go. Beautiful. That's so much improved. Do you have a time marker in your recording where you could sing the B section? Or can you give me like a starting pitch or something? And you can just sing it a cappella?
I can find it. Luckily, mine has the notes on it.
Oh, perfect. Oh, nice. Okay, it has a scrolling score. Let's see if I can find the store on
Too far. Malie crudel. Morir mi lasciar. Oddio, manca il valor. E la costanza.
Nice. It was a little choppy internet-wise. How did it feel for you?
I need to still get the
Manca,
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 manca. Yeah, so it's like an
manca.
NG. Nka, 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 nka. The back of the tongue comes up to touch the palate and then drops. Nka, 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 nka,
Ka.
nka. There you go. Nka. Yeah, nice.
Mang,
Manka. Perfect. So you can think, you keep the ah space open. You don't have to close your jaw. Manka, manka. Right.
manca.
There you go. Nice. Same with the word like ancora that we have in Italian all the time. Ancora or ancora, right? Ancora, not ancora. That's too.
Ancora.
Yeah, there you go. It's
Too
easier,
much
right? Too much R, yeah. So you
ancora.
have to practice the difference between your flipped R and your rolled R because in Italian that can change the meaning of the word. Like if you think of like caro mio ben, caro means dear, beloved, right? Carro, it's a cart, it's a wheelbarrow. So if you sing caro mio ben, you suddenly started talking about something really different, about putting your love into a wheelbarrow, right? So whether the consonant is doubled or not, it can really, really change the meaning in Italian. And the rule of thumb, and there's really not any exceptions, is if you have vowel, R, vowel, it's just a flip. And then any other situation, beginning R, ending R, you can roll it. R next to a consonant, go ahead. Trovo, fine. Crudel, fine. But caro or ancora, you need to just flip it. Spero, right? That's good. Can you sing it one more time? Because the Zoom was kind of cutting in and out. I couldn't hear it as well as I would have liked.
L'uomo malefica. Spero
Yes.
malie cruel. Morir mi lascerai, mi lascerai morir. Oddio, manca il valor, la constanza.
Yeah, that's much improved. Nice. The only thing I add to that version is it sounds like l'amo when you sing it. Can you make it more l'amo and spero? Can you lean on the first?
No,
Uh-huh. L'amo.
no,
Right.
no,
Mm-hmm.
l'uomo,
Yes. Good.
l'uomo.
And how fast can you make an M? Exactly. Can you make it with no jaw? There you go.
L'uomo,
Uh-huh. Lobo. So the M is super quick and the jaw doesn't even close. There we
l'uomo,
go. Yeah, and don't land so much. Make the la louder than the o.
l'uomo.
Yeah. You can make it longer. You can observe the note value, but I heard lamo. And I want lamo. Even if it's long, it should be softer.
L'uomo.
There you go. And what does that mean?
I love him.
I love, right? I love him. Yeah, exactly. So it's important, right? But Maëlie uh infidel, right? But he's unfaithful. And then spero, I hope. Ma egli crudel, right? So if we can hear the contrast there, the length of the vowel in the language helps paint that emotion. You think you can do it one more time and give a little bit more dynamic energy to the long vowel? Make the consonant super fast with no jaw, like. Okay. B section one more time. in the B section.
Nope. Bum, 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 bum.
That's the end of the A, right? Okay, almost there.
Bum, 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 bum.
Here we go.
Uomo maletal, spero mai cruel. Morir mi lascerai morir. Deo manca il valor, e la costanza.
Yes, that's so much more stylistic. Great. Does it feel different?
Yes, very.
Great. We may have skipped a step. Something you could have done in between is to speak it in rhythm. We spoke it with kind of a speech-like flow. Then you could have done speaking it in rhythm. Lamo. And when you do speak in rhythm, put it up kind of in Mickey Mouse voice so that you're not speaking with chest registration. Lamo. Maye infidel, right? Um, that can be an intermediary step to just again get that language cemented. It's so fantastic. I mean, all the A section is beautiful. And I just felt like the Italian in the B section could use some refining. Now I understand it right away. Whereas the first time I was like, wait, I can't remember exactly what the text is in this B section. That's so good. Does anybody else want to sing before we run out of time, or do you want to do a little bit more? Oh, did Amelia leave?
I'm better give him a chance.
What?
I better give him a chance no matter
Yeah,
how much Italian diction I need.
right, right. No, that's really lovely. If nobody else wants to sing, tell me about the really super long phrases. The, you know the one I'm talking about. Where you're like hanging out forever. And then at the end, there's a couple where it maybe just doesn't feel like you have quite as much air as you want, right? And I think that that has to do with the breath that you take right before. So, do you have a particular way that you approach the breath before that really long phrase?
Expand the ribs.
Good.
Take air. Then try to get a piano in there because I'm gonna use too much air if not. And then
Right.
hope. Then just hope.
Right, right. And just hover, right? Exactly. Don't use up too much air at the beginning. And at the very end, if you can think of a crescendo and if you can bring the abdominals that are like below the belly button, from the belly button to like the bottom of the abdomen, if you can pull those in a little bit, not that you always have to support in and up, but at the end of the phrase, when it starts to feel like, ah, right? If you can bring those lower abdominals in just a little bit to anchor the sound and crescendo at the end, I think you'll get a little bit more out of your breath. Because it sounds to me like your inhale instinct is correct. So you know, right, that your job on the inhale is to make space, not to pull in air. If you're
Yes.
feeling any sensation of it's not efficient. Our job on the inhale is to noiselessly open space. So it should be totally silent. And yes, for that long of a phrase, I would actually ask your ribs to move out to the sides on the inhale, like really intentionally. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, can you just like blow out all your air and then take an inhale and open those ribs? A fast noise. Yes. And get as big of a range of motion as you can. Yeah. I think you already have a pretty darn good range of motion with your ribs. Looks like it. Nice. Nice. Do you want to try that? Do you know what the notes are going up to that phrase? Or can you find it on your can you find like a phrase or two before the outrageously long one?
Yeah.
Okay. Amelia, did you want to sing?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll just do this last thing and then we'll switch over. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. A couple phrases before. I love your voice, Leah. It's so fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Again.
Now we're in the middle of it, right? So a little bit earlier.
Il mio sposo, il mio amor, la mia speranza.
Crescendo, lower abs. All right. Yeah. I know. It's just so long. Any better?
Yeah, it was a bit better.
A bit better at the end? Could you feel that little tiny bit of stabilization at the end? Oops.
Could you please repeat?
Did I lose you? Sorry. Did you feel any more stabilization at the very end? No.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, it's just a little like freezing.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay, good. Yeah, did you feel anything different at the end?
Yeah, it felt like I had more space to at least try to trill here instead
Yeah.
of just more tinted.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Do you want to do it one more time and just try the
Yes.
same idea? And I agree with you. Start piano at the beginning and start with the smallest ah you can get in the mouth, right? Super small lips for the beginning of that. You've got the right idea.
Il mio sposo, il mio amor, la mia speranza.
Abs. There. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Did you feel a little bit of a difference?
Yeah.
Slightly more comfortable? So, like, I'm not saying that as a general rule, I'm going to advocate for bringing those lower abs in, right? But in specific circumstances like this, where you have a phrase that's like one measure longer than is comfortable, sometimes finding that little bit of inward tuck just at the end and thinking about a crescendo can make it feel like you can access a little bit more of the air that you have in reserve than if you use kind of your typical approach, along with having a really good inhale. So that sounded a little better coordinated.
Dana, so sorry to interrupt. I think
That's
Amelia
okay.
was still interested in singing.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, Leah. Thank you for being game, for doing diction work and technique work. What an amazing talent. So exciting, 16. Dang, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to meet you. Okay,
All
Amelia,
right. Hello.
I'm going to remove the pin here and I'm going to try to pin you so I can see you bigger. There we go. Hi.
Hello. Okay, so I will be singing Romance by Debussy.
Oh, perfect.
I did not adjust my setup, so hopefully
Don't
this is
worry.
fine. All right.
It's always come as you are in my studio.
Great. Où dont les volontiers chassés, c'est toi dans la délice. Les plus agrestes de la suave
Lovely. Hooray. Singers Convention always has the best singers. You all are so sophisticated
Thank you.
already. It's so beautiful and it's so rich and it's so musical. Do you speak French?
I've been taking French for like 2.5 years.
Okay, because I'm like, you already have it. Like those closed A's are too good for someone that has no experience with the language. However, there are significant differences between spoken French, the way we shape
Yeah.
vowels for spoken French, and the way we shape them for sung French, right?
Mhm.
And so I have some things that I think might make this work a little
Okay.
bit better if I can find my score. Okay. So it sounds like you know the difference between the 4 nasal vowels. When you have a word like souffrante, when you speak it, you're going to nasalize it a lot more than you do when you sing.
Okay.
So you sing that first phrase again, and I don't care if you have accompaniment. Can you sing it and just not nasalize that ah vowel once?
La mevapore souffrante.
Yeah. And now can you nasalize it 1% more than that? Like, don't go anywhere near how much you would drop your palate when you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
La mevapore souffrante.
Yeah. I mean, that's enough nasality for singing.
All right.
So my first like big idea for you is, can you adjust your level of dropping the soft palate to be 5% of what you were going to do if you were going to recite it as a spoken text? And that'll make your resonance more consistent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like a difference between the spoken French and the sung French.
Yeah, difference between lyric stage diction and spoken diction. There's not the same degree of nasality. For spoken diction, it's a much larger palate drop than it is for singing, because a hint of nasality will dilute the tone enough that we perceive a nasal vowel.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one thing you could do when you're practicing, and this is all of you with French pieces, is you can sing your text and remove the nasality to make sure that you're shaping the vowel behind the nasal exactly right.
All right.
Practice it not nasalized and make sure that you're shaping it. Then my second question is, when you make a closed vowel like evapori, which articulator, tongue, jaw, lips, is responsible for that vowel?
Evapore. I think of it more like the tongue part.
It is absolutely the tongue and not the lips. So when I see you make an E vowel, I see a little bit of spread and I see a closing of the jaw. And I think I would like to just see you do the tongue motion.
Okay.
And keep a little bit more gathered, resonating space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do tend to spread when I do French too much, so
Yeah,
that's
what
something
I'm
I
seeing.
gotta.
I'm seeing it happen on the neutral lip vowels. So instead of getting a neutral corner of the mouth shape, I'm getting a little bit of a wide mouth shape.
Yeah.
Evapori, and it's coming further to the side than it needs to. So what is the difference in tongue position between a close vowel and an open vowel? Like, what's the difference between E and E?
For the tongue?
Uh-huh.
For me, it kind of feels goes from like more of the base of my mouth to like the top of the teeth.
For the E? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's perfectly right. So the way I would describe it is that for the close version of the vowel, the tongue is high, up, or touching the top molars. E. 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 Yeah, can you do a siren? And can you track the arch of your tongue up touching a molar? ee. The tip can be down, so the tongue's like ee. That was very good. Yeah. Now can you let this be a little more neutral? Ee. Beautiful. And can you hear how that maintains more depth?
Yeah, it felt good.
Yeah, and it feels easier, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so then for your open vowels, you're going to do the same thing. Neutral lips, arch in the same spot, but it's not going to be quite as high. It's going to be like between the bottom teeth and the top teeth. So now do a siren on an eh. Eh. Like perfection. That's so good. Now, can we sing the first couple of lines? And when you have those front neutral lip vowels, can you give me those tongue positions and kind of a nice released gathered position in the lips instead of so much motion this way? Okay.
So you give me a accompaniment?
If you like the accompaniment, sure. We might not do the whole song though. I just want to hear maybe 2, 3
I'll
phrases.
do it.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. It's prettier with chords.
Yeah. Non mi vapore
Better on the A. Yes, that's better. Does that feel a little differently organized?
Yeah, it does. It feels a little bit like less like far back, I guess. Like a little, I don't know how to describe it. Oh wait, no, it feels a little bit like brighter. That's
A
what
little bit brighter.
that's
Yeah,
what it was.
perfect. So, and here's the way that I think about bright and dark, right? And I feel like young singers are very like black and white about this, like it's either bright or it's dark. And I encourage you to think always about a balance of bright and dark. So every single tone you make should have brighter overtones and it should have overtones that contribute to warmth. And what you're doing is you're always adjusting the balance between those two things. And if you can conceive of it that way, and always imagine that there's like this warmer color on like the bottom part of the vowel and a brighter color on the top part of the vowel, it will give you, it will prevent you from going too far towards everything bright or swallowing and going too far towards everything dark. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there was a word for that. I forgot what it was.
Chiaroscuro. Right?
Okay.
Chiaroscuro, right? So the chiaro is the brighter aspect of the tone, and the oscuro, it means dark. So there's always in this classical tradition that we're living in, there's always a balance between the chiaro quality and the scuro quality. So as a young singer, when you feel a change in the sound, I want you to notice, oh, the bright part of the balance seemed stronger. Like also listen to the way the bright relates to the dark. Does that make sense? Try to listen to the dialogue between those two colors rather than focusing your ear on just one or just the other, because focusing on one or the other entirely will sometimes push you towards an extreme. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you'll feel frustrated because your coaches are constantly telling you, can you make it a little brighter? Can you make it a little darker? Oh, now it's too dark. Okay, and now it's too bright. You know, and you usually the feedback that you get doesn't always address that balance. But if you can conceptualize that balance, you'll be less driven crazy by contrasting.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, it had more brighter tones, but it didn't lose any of the depth. And that's why I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Can you do it one more time? Thinking about that balance of brighter and darker. And just noticing, do the same diction things, but just notice what happens to the balance between the brighter parts and the darker parts.
Okay. Or should I just do it without? I'll do it without.
That's fine. That's fine. Nice. Very nice E at the end. Yes. So what did you hear that time listening in dialogue between bright and dark?
I was kind of just trying to like bring like a middle ground. I don't know. I feel like I didn't really like notice that much like the too much bright or too much dark,
Yeah,
but that's
I thought
just
it
my
was
voice
good.
and just how I hear it.
Yeah,
So I
and
would
I
need
think
an outsider opinion.
no, I think that's fantastic. And I want you all to listen in a way that you're always listening to both halves of the vowel,
Mhm.
right? That was really good. The other comment that I have for you on your French is that when you make rounded sounds, can you think about bringing your lips forward rather than in?
Mhm.
Like creating a space between the inside of the lip and the teeth. Or the other idea is that, you know, the part of the lip on the inside that's like wet all the time?
Yeah.
Can that be far enough out that the vowel shape is there and not on the dry part?
Okay. Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah. So let's go on and let's do C'est adorable de lys, because I think here you have a little bit more rounded vowels coming up.
Okay.
So we're going to start on. And anytime you have a rounded vowel, make the rounded vowel there in the lip well
Okay.
rather than bringing the lips in. Yeah, so c'est âme. Going on. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about that line. Which ones are the rounded ones?
Ne-
Ne is neutral, right? N'est-il,
Neither.
right? Those are not round. And what about pli?
Use a little bit more
It's
round.
it's round. So I want you to think of this black and white. It's either round or it's not round.
Oh,
So
okay.
pli is round.
Yeah.
Pli,
Use
and then what? Is it round or not?
no, not really.
Okay, try it if it is. Uh,
Uh,
uh, uh.
Fell.
All right, let's talk about this vowel because this is a weird one, right? And this is one where you're right. In spoken French, sometimes it's not round, but in lyric diction, it's round.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're not wrong. Eh, eh. Some people say for you, and
Uh,
totally acceptable in spoken French. Some French speakers only have 3 nasal sounds, and that's totally fine. For lyric diction, though, it's with round lips.
okay.
Uh,
Uh, uh,
yes. And can you bring them forward to if it feels weird, it's correct. If it feels normal, it's not quite correct.
uh,
Yeah, there you go.
that does
Uh-huh.
weird.
Yeah, yeah. If it feels weird, it's right. So
Mhm.
plus is round, is
You,
round.
uh,
Yes. And then
uh,
pas, not round.
oh no.
Fin is
Yeah.
round, right?
Uh,
Qui, not
no.
round. Re,
No.
neutral. And then stu,
That is.
that is round, right? Okay. So one thing that I have my singers do, especially if they're fairly new to singing in French, is I'll have them color code their score. I'm like, I
Oh.
want to see all the not round vowels in one color. And I want to see all the rounded vowels in another color. And I want you to
Oh.
practice it. And just for the purposes of getting familiar with bringing the lips forward in a released way, not in a held way, to like exaggerate that forward space between the teeth and the lips position every time you have a rounded vowel. So N'est-il plus un parfum qui reste? Can you say-
N'est-il plus un parfum qui reste?
That's so much better. Now, can you sing that?
N'est-il plus un parfum qui reste?
Yeah. Does that feel weird?
A little bit,
A little
but I
bit.
like it so.
Yeah. Can you tell that can you tell that the French is more accurate for song diction, right?
Yeah.
Like it already was good. It already had a nice spoken flow. Okay, can you do it one more time?
N'est-il plus un parfum qui reste?
There you go. Beautiful. Do you feel a little bit of space between the teeth and the lips?
Yeah.
Okay,
Kind
cool.
of like an exaggerated pouty lip.
Exactly. It's kind of like a duck face, but when people do that, they're like tensing these muscles, and this can be kind of tight. For our diction, we want this as loose as possible, but forward, right? So it's just like a release forward of the lips rather than a holding out.
Okay.
That was really good. Can you do it without your hand there?
N'est-il plus un parfum qui reste?
There you go. That's beautiful. And can you hear that there's more depth and spin?
Yeah,
Good. So
that
let's
last
think.
note felt good.
Yeah, the schwa is round in French, right? Okay, so what do we got in our next
Hey,
line?
sorry, Dana, we are about out of time. So
Oh,
if we
okay.
want to have a couple of minutes for questions,
Sorry.
you're good.
Thank you so much for timekeeping. You both are fantastic. My God, what beautiful singing from your bedrooms on a Thursday evening. That's both. You were starting at a very high bar, so I was being super picky about the way you articulated things because all your basic musicianship and tone quality, it's all there.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You
Any
all
questions?
sounded wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Dana about Butler, about what we've talked about today?
Life in general.
Life in general.
If I get a question, I'll email you. So,
Yeah, sure.
but not at the moment.
Yeah, great. So I teach diction at Butler,
Nice.
as you might be able to tell. And Butler has, for our performance majors, we have our Italian and English in one semester, and then we have a full semester of French and a full semester of German for our performance majors. So that way you get 16 weeks with the languages that people usually come in a little less familiar with, which is a nice structure, I think.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
Are there the same like language courses for music education?
Music education is an ongoing thing at Butler. If you take the 5-year degree, which is a double music ed and performance, then yes. If you take the 4-year music ed only, you're only required to take Italian and English, and then you can take the German and or French if you can fit it. But in
Okay.
4 years, because our ed majors come out certified to teach, it's kind of a struggle to get all the ed classes and all the music classes into 5 years. So the diction has been, so far, I've not been successful at getting more than one semester of diction required in that major. But they will often take it as an elective if they can. But the
Okay.
awesome thing about the dual degree is that at Butler, we have it. A good percentage of our ed majors are ed performance majors. And in that degree, you get a scholarship for all 5 years and you take both the requirements to come out certified to teach and you do the extra performing classes like the lit classes and voice repertoire, like art song lit, vocal pedagogy, and the full diction sequence. So that you can get done in 5 years. And if you get a scholarship, which you would, it would continue for those 5 years. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That sounds like an amazing track. That's really cool.
It's super cool. And I would say at least half of our ed majors are that track. So it's really, really great that there's so much interest in that dual plan. Butler is a school that has 1 million tailorable degree plans. So if you have an interest in singing and almost anything else except pharmacy, you can do it here. And there's a plan for it already in place.
That's amazing.
So
Well,
that's one cool thing.
that's so great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here, Dana. Thank you, the both of you, for singing. And we will see you later.
All
We'll
right,
hopefully see you
fantastic.
through the
Thank
rest
you
of
so
it.
much for moderating.
Of
And
course, my pleasure.
congratulations. Beautiful singing tonight, everybody. I loved working with you, and you're fantastic.
Great.
Yay.
Great job.
And
Bye, everyone.
I'm gonna
Thank
put
you.
my
Good night.
There's my email in the chat if you want to find me. Thank
Bye.
you.
Great. Bye, everyone.